Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Wicked Act. Two political representatives in the South Central Parish of Junction St. Elizabeth on Monday condemned the barbaric murder of 29-year-old Jermaine Jimbo Green and the sexual assault of his partner during a robbery in Town near Junction on Sunday. Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth Southeastern Frank Whittle and Council Setting Holness Jamaica Labour Party Junction Division told reporters that the incident came as a shock to the relatively quiet community. We condemn the action. It is a wicked act, but they not only snuffed out a life, but they sexually assaulted the lady, and that makes matters worse, said Holness. Which described Green as well-disciplined and hardworking. Late last year, I gave him one of the farm work cards because he was preparing to travel on the farm work program, so we are very shaken by the shooting, he said. He believes the culprits are from the area and is hopeful that residents will identify them. These guys are heartless. I think they are from the community or one of the adjoining communities because of the way this incident happened, said Whittle. They will be caught because one of the good things about these communities is that they will give information to the police. People tell the police what they know. It is not a community that will hold back anything. Once they have information, they are going to give it to the police, he added. Head of the St. Elizabeth Police Superintendent Dwight Dale reported that the cops have increased their operations in the community and implore residents to tell the police what they know. We believe that some small criminal groups are operating in that area. We understand that they know the space and that they are not actually using the main thoroughfares, so they are taking some tracks and they can go from district to district, said Daly. We believe that the information resides with the residents in the area and we want them to give us the information so that we can conduct the operations, he said. A report from the Constabulary Corporate Communications Unit has said about 8:15 p.m., armed men invaded the family's home and demanded cash and cellular phones. A struggle ensued between Green and one of the gunmen, during which Green was shot. A woman who was also sexually assaulted during the ordeal. The robbers escaped with cellular phones and an undetermined sum of money. The police were summoned and the injured couple were taken to hospital, where Green was pronounced dead on arrival and the injured woman is being treated. Superintendent Daly added that one of the men was armed with a gun and two others used knives during the attack. He is appealing for cooperation from residents to identify the men. He said that in the past, police had apprehended suspects in a number of crimes, but residents have declined to come forward and point out to the identification parades. They say they don't want to get involved in the justice system, said Daly. He added that the police also rely on scientific evidence for this investigation. The nation's prayer brought him back. The relatives and close friends of 15-year-old St. Thomas Cross victim Michael Jackson are elated that the team emerged from a coma last week Tuesday following a March 5th motor vehicle crash on the Trinity Villa Main Road in the parish. Jackson was among 4 occupants of the vehicle, which crashed into a light pole at approximately 3:30 p.m. The others were treated at hospital and released. However, the teen sustained injuries to his head and other parts of his body and was admitted at the Kingston Public Hospital in dire need of blood. According to Lasagna Turner Francis, the child's stepmother, support has been tremendous, and people from all walks of life in numerous parishes rushed to donate blood in Michael's name. Now Jackson is breathing independently and speaking for himself, progress which has left the family singing heavenly praises. He said, "Mom, when do you recognize me? Everyone is overwhelmed, including his mother, father, and his school. I spoke to his father and his principal to let them know. I am also in dialogue with a couple of his classmates. I told them that he said his first words, his mother dropped everything she was doing and gave out a scream," Turner Francis reported. Further, she is convinced that it was divine intervention more than anything else that brought Jackson out of that coma. The nation's prayer brought him back. We got calls nationally and internationally. I just want them to continue to pray for his physical and mental recovery. I remember him saying, "Mom, me want make it." I told him that, "Michael, you have made it already." I want to tell the nation thanks for the prayers and their contribution. Persons in other parishes donated blood for Michael at other blood banks. I remember when I went to the National Trust Hospital and they asked who I was donating blood for. When I told them his name, they said, "Oh, it's a celebrity from St. Thomas," she said. Added Turner Francis, "I was being treated for hypertension since that happened, and now the blood pressure is back to normal." His father is overseas, and he was being treated too for hypertension. He is better now and should be on the island by the end of this week. Thanks be to God, things are looking bright. Turner Francis expressed gratitude to the medical staff and other people who have been supportive of the family since the incident occurred. With regards to the next step, she said Jackson is still to have a surgery done on one of his legs. They are working on his leg right now. They are still treating him because he may have memory loss. He had brain injuries and so forth, and they are still working on him to get him back to normal as possible. His mother went down there Monday morning and she called me to say she got another prescription with some screws to go into his leg. We understand it is expensive, she said. Grants Pen residents lament impact of new St. Thomas bypass. While some commuters are pleased with the newly opened bypass on a section of the St. Thomas Main Road, residents of Grants Pen are lamenting the negative impact the bypass is already having on the community. Residents told reporters that they now have to charter vehicles in order to exit the community or walk the long distance from the bypass to go home. When reporters visited the scene, an elderly woman was observed walking a considerable distance to the community as road taxis and bus operators are no longer using the old route. The residents are also angry that no official notice was given that the road would be blocked off. They did not even notice us. We heard from the grapevine that the men working on the road that they were going to block off the road. We don't get no argument from none of them, one resident stated. The Grants Pen residents are calling on authorities to implement solutions as they are in dire need. We need something. We need somebody to step up and set something for us, one resident stated. No parking, no business. Dennis Marina, a Harborview St. Andrew-based restaurant and bar, is on the verge of shuttering its over 30 years establishment following unresolved land disputes which have left the popular chill spot without adequate parking space for customers. Danny Davis, owner and operator of the sports bar and seafood restaurant, said that despite his best efforts to secure the requisite paperwork to access a lease for the property, which his customers have been using a parking lot for years, he has been accorded no due process. The land, he said, has however been leased to another person on which it is believed a petrol station is to be developed. A lot of my customers come from far away from places such as Portmore and Spanish Town, and a lot of them drive, so they are going to need a parking area. It's about 4 of us using the land and a business we are run, so we need place to park, and Upset Davis reported during a recent telephone interview. He said that with the other parts of land on which his business is housed being duly registered and up to date in tax payments, the immediate challenge with which he now faced was to secure use of adjacent land or even a part thereof to ensure business continuity. Whenever the persons to which the land has been leased, come and start the development, that's it for me. I just have to close the gates as I will have no parking at this spot, Davis further reported. Despite pleading by residents for an amicable solution, Davis said that the numerous efforts have been made by him and other concerned parties have to date been futile. This, he said, has now caused him to become hopeless as his fears of losing his lifelong investment increases. Recounting millions in potential losses should the establishment be closed, the owner and operator said it will be a heart-wrenching moment for him. And millions of dollars may invest in this place. No land was over there, so I may create land space. At first it was just bare stone and we're basically walking in the sea. This place represents all my life's earning and I've slaved to build it. It also carries sentiment value for me as my grandparents and others have been here. So it's really hard to have to just walk away and leave it all. But if I have no parking, I can't continue the business. So what will I do? He asked, decrying what he has described as unfair and unjust treatment being meted out to him as a small local entrepreneur trying to contribute to the development of his country. Davis said his outlook was outward with no plans for relocation. Me not relocate in Jamaica, me done, me feel away. It's unfair to know I've been here as a Jamaican, trying from nothing, almost even losing my life on several occasions to make this business possible. If I can get back the car park, business will remain open as I have a vision and I would love to further my dream. But if I don't get the car park, the little area I have in front of the marina will not do as much as 10 cars and will not pay my staff or the bills, he stated, whilst noting some increased operational overheads which he had to pay for monthly, including utilities and infrastructural facilities, including a multi-million-dollar solar system installed recently. The marina, which Davis said he has inherited from his grandparents, has throughout the years provided employment for hundreds of people in and around Harborview community. The popular landmark located near the runabout that serves as a transit point in the Norman Manley International Airport caters to scores of customers, including tourists who often stop by to have a meal and indulge in some good vibes. Currently providing employment for about 15 persons, Davis said he is also concerned about the potential lost livelihood of his workers. As locals, we want to be given the opportunity to feed our own people, give them opportunities, and not just leave it to foreign investors, he stated. Bar wants older murder cases prioritized when jury trials resume. With jury trials on the cusp of resumption, President of the Jamaican Bar Association, Alexander Williams, is calling for priority to be given to the earlier murder cases, for which he says a backlog has been created during the pandemic years. Jury trials were suspended in March 2020 when Jamaica recorded its first case of COVID-19. Since then, the courts made efforts to get jury trials back on track, even sending out notices to jurors, but had to retract given unforeseen spikes in COVID-19 cases. In the interim, judge-alone trials have gained popularity. Now with the infection rate seemingly declining and the wholesale lifting of the pandemic restriction measures, which have been invoked under the Disaster Risk Management Act (DRMA), Williams told reporters that it was not just a matter of time before jury trials resume. I am aware that the Chief Justice has already contemplated the resumption. As a matter of fact, we have a recent meeting and provisions are being put in place for the resumption. This is prior to the Prime Minister's announcement, and I suppose the Prime Minister's announcement will make things a whole lot easier for the resumption of jury trials, the Jamaican Bar Association president stated. The association, he said, is particularly keen on that. We hope to get back to normalcy as soon as possible because, of course, there are murder trials outside of the gun court which require a jury trial, and a backlog has been created. We are very pleased that we are now at this juncture, and I believe that the protocols that will be put in place will satisfy the public health imperatives going forward, Williams told reporters. Williams stated, I am hoping that at the resumption of jury trials, we will prioritize older murder cases. I know that there is a backlog in the gun cases as well, but I think that priority should be given to the older cases to see to it that those cases get off the ground as soon as possible. In 2020, the Court Administration Division had indicated that the gun court was poised to become the first court in Jamaica to clear its cases backlog by June 2021. A case is considered to be in a state of backlog if it has been in the system without being disposed of for more than 2 years. During the opening of the Hillary team for the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston in January, indications were that plans had been put in place for the jury trials to begin then. However, given another sharp rise in cases, the decision had been taken to wait a few weeks. On Friday, as if those few weeks are at the end, Williams said, I get the impression that the Chief Justice has in mind some part during the latter part of this term, going into next term, is what I understand as to the timing. I don't mean to be speaking for him, but what he's saying or trying to ensure is that the different protocols are in place before that happens, but I am expecting that very soon. The government on March 13, 2020, invoked provisions under the Disaster Risk Management Act as the principal regulatory tool for managing the health crisis, ranging from the curfews to lockdowns and social distancing measures. Last Thursday, the Prime Minister, making his contribution to the 2022-2023 budget debate, announced that after 2 years of dexterously balancing lives and livelihood with executive powers under the DRMA, the orders have not been gazetted, making it so that effective Friday, March 18, 2022, the order and other measures will be withdrawn. According to Holness, while it is acknowledged that the pandemic is not over, its management must be mainstreamed into the general, normal management of public health safety and public order. As such, he said some measures will be retained and incorporated into regulations issued under the Public Health Act instead. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.